This is Neverwinter. We're on Xbox Series X taking a look at this free-to-play MMORPG. And yeah, it's kind of that original, exciting version of the game. So we never did get any sort of like enhancement with it, which I think was a little bit disappointing, quite honestly, but at the same time, it looks pretty good with this original Xbox One release on the Series X. Now, I should note that it does have auto HDR support, and the option that if you go to the graphics, you can actually turn off the limit frame rate. So you can have that on or off, and we have it off here because we want to see what this is actually capable of when we increase, well, basically the fluidity option of the game, which does feel quite smooth on the platform. So as a free-to-play MMORPG, you're sort of making your character. I have two characters on this account, actually. This is my level 61, and I actually played this on PlayStation 4 as well, and I think I can't remember what my character got up to there, but I played quite a fair bit of it on both the platforms. So it was early on in the generation when this released on Xbox One, and it really was kind of the first game, I think, that sort of showed me that, yeah, MMORPGs definitely can work on console, especially complex ones in terms of the amount of different options for combat. So you can kind of see there, they really do kind of put it together in a really beautiful way. I was genuinely surprised by what they were able to provide with this game. I did actually have a lot of fun playing it. Obviously, you can get your little companion critter too. We've got Arcanos there, and I've got my mount too. So there's lots of different sort of things you can do in terms of skills, social quests, and options, and it just offers a lot of content and things that you can jump into. Obviously, a PvP situation if you want to battle in that way. Different campaigns, different missions, different places you can go, different like legacy. Well, I guess I got legacy campaigns. I think there's like dragon stuff and lore and achievements and quest logs. I actually got an achievement when I logged in for doing certain deed things, so that's kind of interesting as well. But yeah, it's just kind of this expansive, exciting sort of game. Oh, so it also had the Fable trail going on too in regards to what you could do with it and kind of like where you're supposed to go quest-wise, and it is very linear in terms of like the design and the goals and things like that. So yeah, it's just kind of this very interesting sort of experience that I think is a lot of fun, and it offers a lot of different challenges and ways to play. It's got interesting story elements, and it's just kind of a, I don't know, it's really enjoyable. I did quite like what it had to offer, and I think it has just a lot of content to it, which is kind of exciting. It's just a very unique sort of MMORPG, and it's something that I think you could spend, quite a lot of time playing. Collect this one thing. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yay, bonus stuff. That's what I'm talking about. And then you can go off into these different adventures. It's ever so exciting. Oh, and you can like adjust your zoom in and everything like that too. If you want like a tight zoom in, you want a little bit of an out one. Kind of adjust the little character things, and you do that with the back button, which is kind of nice to have as an option. So that's pretty cool. And then obviously you've got like titles, and you can do queues for battles and stuff like that, public and everything. Kind of cool. Different dungeons, different situations, different battles if you want to jump into dungeons. Yeah, it's actually kind of an impressive game, I think, just in terms of what you do in it and the gameplay elements. But we should kind of get rolling into a mission, well, not a mission, but maybe a landscape in order to do something, kind of gameplay wise, instead of just checking out this hub world that I think is kind of lovely too. Great, so we traveled over to Velosk, which I believe is like a level 40-ish area. I thought this would be a neat place to kind of start our adventure, just showing off some of the different areas. So, while this is an MMORPG, it's not necessarily an open world game. You're sort of moving through these linear hub-type areas, exploring, doing different missions, quests, battling, lots of combative grinding. I do think they actually do a good job of offering a large selection of different environments, enemies, and foes to work through as you grind out your levels and prepare yourself to battle in new situations. It's kind of a wondrous landscape that they do keep adding content to and supporting, which is still kind of fantastic to think about. I don't know, I think it's generally just a very well done title. I've quite enjoyed Neverwinter over the years, what it's offered, and the distinct combat that's kind of present here. So we're going to kind of be unleashing here, hopefully not dying and embarrassing myself, because it's been a while, but, you know, we're going to just sort of see what we've got to deal with when it comes to the different combative elements of play. And then, of course, you've got these extra options for moving around and battling, and, yeah, it was just kind of neat how they handled the different sort of setups and hotkeys for, you know, your character and the weapons and the battling. Just kind of interesting in how it was handled and how smooth it was and the different skills and everything like that. It feels fairly streamlined, but at the same time it does offer quite a bit of freedom, especially with the different characters, and it was fun to play with friends. I always thought that was sort of an enjoyable element of this experience, that you didn't have to necessarily just play this alone. You could actually like group up. And I remember, again, since it's the earlier days of a console last gen and we didn't have a whole lot of games to play, even at the point of this releasing, that, yeah, it was sort of really enjoyable to jump in here and then spend a lot of time playing. We did actually, like, work through a lot of it, because level 60 does take time, at least back, you know, then it actually took a bit of time to actually get to that kind of rank. So we're going to travel back, because I want to show off a different area. I'm going to try to present as many different locations as possible for this one, because I do think it's sort of, I don't know, fun. I guess we could have reached maybe another end for a travel point. Let's actually take a look at what am I thinking here? We choose you map. I want to take a look at the mini map. Character, mount. Sorry, there's just so much stuff going on here. So many different things. Travel gate. That's one travel gate. Okay. Next pane. Let's see. Where were we headed? Go to the Grey Wolf Den. That's actually one of the missions. I don't necessarily want to do that specifically at the current time. But yeah, you can see how it's all rendering quite well. I mean, we are getting some pop-in, I suppose, along the way in regards to some of the environmental elements loading in. But it does seem to be, I don't know, running fairly smoothly, looking pretty good. It's nice that we have the option to, again, do the frame rate cap thing here. I think that's kind of cool, depending on the platform you're at. Kind of very forward-thinking. Again, graphics limiting frame rate on or off. That's just kind of a nice touch. Now, I don't know to the full degree of what that actually allows us to potentially max out on doing here. It, you know, it still feels somewhat similar, just a little bit better. And it's nice that we've got the extra hardware kind of available in order to properly really, you know, enjoy what that is. And I think, you know, lore-wise, a lot of people might quite enjoy this if they are into the whole, you know, specific element of the Dungeons and Dragons element of play, because that's what this is, you know, based off the D&D kind of thing. Roth Valley Winter Festival. We didn't really. It actually might be cool to see or finish off on the Chasm 48 to 53. I don't really know if I really like that area. Mount Hushru, Whispering Caves, Pirates Skyhold. Oh, that one was cool because you're like in the clouds. The Winter Festival. I'm trying to think of like Black Lake District, the Tower District. I think this one was like aesthetically quite cool, so I'd like to show that off alongside the loading, just seeing how you get into the areas very quickly now, which is nice. But in general, I think the game offers quite a lot of content, and, you know, really what feels like almost unlimited plays. You go through this adventure doing all these different quests and all these different missions. You can spend, you know, a lot of time going through this. And it's sort of just as exciting to be jumping back into it as it was playing it for the first time back in the day. Because again, this was kind of nuts to have on the console. It really was cool. We've seen a lot of other similar type titles, you know, released since. So it was kind of a good stepping point almost in terms of an option like this. And I just remember having such fun times with friends playing this game. It really was quite a delightful experience. I guess maybe we should go down this way. That way just leads us to this off-branch area that doesn't go anywhere, at least from what I recall. But yeah, it actually just still does look quite nice. I mean, it's got like a certain aesthetic to it, which is kind of cool. It would have been cool if we would have seen maybe I don't know, like some sort of boost to it, especially since there's this level of support. I mean, maybe they just don't want to, and I guess that's fair as well. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to be revisiting this sort of title and the experience of it. All these years later, it's just kind of nuts. Honestly, it's just strangely bizarre. I'm in my shield phase. But you're going around, like, looting items and equipment, stuff like that, and fighting different enemies of different tiers, and it becomes more and more difficult as you go to the, different regions and dealing with the leveled characters and the different battles across the selected areas. And as you've been seeing, again, kind of free in terms of where you can go, but again, very focused in terms of your path progression and where you'll head within each scenario. And I think that's something to keep in mind. It's just quite enjoyable. I hope I'm not killing all of these things that lower level player needs, because I'm just kind of doing a joyride sort of thing. Because I know there's people actually probably starting out that really do need, to fight these kinds of things. Savage. Can I bother you, sir? Oh, never mind. And then we've got like a super too. That's the gem kind of glowing thingy there, but I don't really want to. Well, there's not really a need for it. Anyways, it just really leans into that fantasy element well. Now, I'm not hugely knowledgeable of the whole Dungeons and Dragons element of play, like, the actual lore of what that kind of universe is like. So this is really, I think, my most experience into Dungeons and Dragons, as odd as that sounds, just playing Neverwinter. But it has been a delightful time. Again, like, I checked it out, well, I played it on Xbox when it launched for quite a while, and then I jumped into it on the PlayStation version to cover it there, and it's been quite a while since I've visited here, but yet it's still definitely remembered. Oh, enter the Cloak Tower, so that's like a bit of a dungeon. Haha. Which I guess kind of concludes our trip into this particular resort area. But I do want to take a look at the Winter Festival, because that sounds kind of delightful. But I think, it kind of runs respectably well. I think it offers a lot of different things to do and different missions, whether you want to do, like, dungeons, if you want to level your character, grind out enemies, if you want to do PvP, if you want to have different sorts of PvE elements working with others. Do you want to just play by yourself? I think I spent quite a bit of time playing this game by myself as well, leveling my character up further when friends weren't available or moved on to other games and stuff, and that's fine too. You can really get out of it as much as you want, and of course, you create different characters. And I think as a, free-to-play game, it's actually very respectable in that regard, because you really do feel as though you can freely play it and not feel limited by any particular element of play. You're now fighting the different elements. Cool. I've actually never seen a winter festival, so this is kind of interesting for me to jump in here and take a look at this. But there's different merchants and different hotkey setups, and you really can kind of personalize your experience in many different ways. And I guess they've raised the level cap to a degree as well. And then, of course, talking to the different characters. I hope you're enjoying our welcome travel. Completing quests. This year, the people of Twilight receive a special gift. Okay, accept. Lore, blah, blah, blah. Omens and stars. Sure. And then you get all these different quests and things you gotta do. And there's all these different missions and side missions and main missions. And then you can go through areas fast, or you can take your time. And then, of course, you can interact with other characters, too, if you want to. And yeah, it's just kind of nuts. Learn about the Twilight Tour. There's so much to kind of get details on. There's a lot going on here. And the top left, right of my screen right now is kind of like an absolute buzz with like things that I'm supposed to take care of and be doing. As you can tell, I'm just kind of rolling through this. I also remember spending a lot of time like grinding out dragons. Like, I think that was a big thing, because the achievements in this game were kind of like a little nuts to some degree in terms of like some of the things that were going on within it, like what you're supposed to do. And I think one of them was like kill so many dragons, and it was kind of like ridiculous. Oh, the fishing, that's kind of cool. I don't know, there's a lot of different things you can do, and it's a nice revisit to take a look at this world and the action and everything like that. So I do actually quite suggest this if you're wanting an MMORPG experience that's a little bit different on the console platform. I think it actually really hits the mark as being something unique and action-packed and fun that you can enjoy with others. And obviously, it's still quite lively to this day, which I think is nice too. It's not as packed, I think, as I recall, but there's a lot of people going about here exploring and taking things in. Well, in a party in Twilight Tour, where do we do like the cool parties? Is this like, oh, it's a racing master. That sounds a little bit intense, but where do we go? Is there a cool place with ale and excitement as a pub? What's this? Read about the holiday. We completed the holiday readings. That's so exciting. Yeah, it's just kind of like little bits of interaction, little bits of combat. It's got a lot going on with it. I don't know. It's a weird game, right? Like it's entirely unique and different and high spirited. Didn't we go down there already?
Watch your footing and be careful.
Okay, whatever. Enter monsters on ice. Oh, okay. The shrieking cultist is out of range. I don't know if I want to fight these guys. That sounds like a scary time. I was just going here for like a casual, easygoing time, but everything's like so much more snappy now. Just like loading and everything. Like I don't remember it taking forever, but it definitely, you know, it just increased speed-wise by a lot here. It's a significant sort of upgrade and everything like that. I don't want to talk to that guy.
The stars hold many
How
portents,
do I get
and during
the fortune?
Simru, they are
What else am I
revealed.
specifically exploring here? We've explored Tor Village, learn about the Tor, visit the Simbril store. We've always got to visit these stores and talk to people and stuff, you know. They always want more out of you, and you do all these exploration things. It's always, it's a bit tiring. Exchange stars of fortune. Oh, that's not good. Shop last year's rewards. Free? It costs nothing. And a package for me. See what my inventory is like. Character sheet appearance. Oh jeez, yeah. You now have loadouts. Wow. Great, that's exciting. They've changed things up. You get stats, appearance points. I got more points available to improve my character, I guess. Yeah. There's a lot going on here. Vanguard stuff. We got Arcanos, the young dog. Pretty cool. Oh, you can get different kinds of levels for your dog and maturity. That's cool. Bonding stuff. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. That is pretty cool. It's like a flying thing. Why he's got cool wings? Why don't I have cool wings? Am I missing something cool wings wise? Did I not do a good job with the wings? Tell me the strange
can answer
festivals. I have another question. I have no more questions. I'll just back out because I don't want to talk to you anymore. But yeah, that's kind of the loveliness of Neverwinter, and I haven't really shown off a lot of it, so I hope you kind of got an idea a little bit about like the combat, the gameplay mechanics, the style of what it is, the experiences you can have, the fun you can have along the way, and just what's kind of present in this wild, large-scale experience that I think offers countless hours of gameplay, excitement, and things to do with events that keep things fresh, and a wide range of options for playing alone, or with others if you want to, which I think is kind of magical.